Yeah, so I started Amazon in 2015. And before that, I'll show you this slide if this thing goes. Oh, no, it's moving my slide. Actually, one second. Let me just see if I can. Oh, there we go. Okay. So before that, I started off doing this, and we call this in America physical therapist. A lot of people know it as physiotherapist, and I was doing physiotherapy for 10 years. I was working with seniors and I loved it, but I really had another calling, and I started looking for other opportunities. And then Amazon in 2015 was an amazing opportunity. So I started an e-commerce business back then. And, really it was because of advertising that I was able to scale that business in the pet industry. And back then, thankfully for me, it was super easy to learn. Like, it was pretty basic. It was basic stuff. So at the time, there really wasn't any tools available as well. So I decided to build a tool and started the PPC Entourage in 2016. So then that's how Shai and I met. We both had a tool that we worked on, and we met at the PPC Congress. So I have been studying Amazon advertising, I would say since late 2015, pretty much almost every day. I mean, it's kind of like what I do. Diving into Amazon Seller Central, like figuring out what's going on, figuring out trends, figuring out strategy, looking into the new opportunities, keeping people up to date with the new opportunities, and filling people in on how they can benefit from those, and also the PPC Entourage tool. I also built out the Amazon advertising playbook and the Blueprint series. Some of you may know me from the Blueprint series back in 2016, where we looked at different ways to optimize. We still use that to this day, and we use that inside of the tool. And then we also now have the playbook series, which is 35 different campaigns to maximize your ad strategy. So Shai, I don't know if you've given them, probably have already, a copy of the playbook series, but that is available for free. And simply that's
the playbook series is the fund for the meeting in the PPC class in every Monday, and we are taking a few slides and talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to have some updates to that because there's some new campaigns.
Yeah. Next time you will come to visit us and continue with the slide that I didn't translate until now.
Sounds good. So yeah, this is me back in the day. I no longer do physical therapy. So now I'm doing full-time PPC Entourage, and we just got acquired by Carbon6, which is awesome. I'm the lead of their advertising department. They also acquired two other tools in the advertising department. One is ZonTools, and the other one is PixelMe. So ZonTools is kind of a tool for more of the sellers who are looking to set and forget it, sort of like automatically create campaigns, set it up and forget it. Whereas PPC Entourage is a tool that allows you to like really dive into your data. And if you really want like hands-on with your PPC, Entourage has all the tools to allow you to do that. So they're very complementary. And then PixelMe is more for external traffic management. So sending traffic from Google to get improved rank to Amazon. They have attribution links and retargeting links and everything else. So I'm excited to announce that I'll be leading that team and working on all three of those tools and helping them build out those tools. So yeah, Carbon6 is an awesome opportunity. Shai, anything else you want to know before we start?
No, I think we can start. Let's do it.
Welcome, everybody. Feel free, before I start, feel free, as we're going, I have the chat open. So feel free to ask any questions that you want, or if you need any clarification, let me know. We have a good amount of time, and I'd love to make sure that these concepts are really set. The other thing I want to say is that these are a bunch of concepts. If you could mute out, because I'm getting a little feedback. These concepts are from many years of doing this. Like, some of this might be, second nature to a lot of people. Some of it might be new. But also, like, we're also going to talk about some of the newer things that if you're an advanced seller, maybe you're not aware of, or that just came out. So we'll try to run the whole gamut of like what you can do in Q4. And also, if there's anything that I'm missing, feel free to also put that in the chat so that everyone can benefit. And then we'll add this to the slide deck for next year, and we'll have an even more robust presentation. All right,
yeah,
so let's
Mike, I just want to say that at the end of the presentation, you will give some bonus for something. And if somebody wants to ask and you have some problem with the English, with his English, you can ask in the chat in Hebrew, and I will translate it.
Awesome.
So it's okay. You can send me a WhatsApp message. It's okay. Private message, WhatsApp message, and it's okay.
All right, sounds good. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start off with the basics. And the most important thing, if you've been a seller for over a year, is to go back to last year to see what worked. Ask yourself and look at the data and see what worked, what didn't work. You want to look at all the different things. You want to look at which campaigns worked, which SKUs performed well, which ads performed well, which search terms performed well, which keywords performed well, and start to get an idea as to how you can maximize sales based on the data last year. Now, if you don't have a tool like PPC Entourage, you can go back up to the beginning of this year, January 1st, and look at your data. Or if you've downloaded your search term reports on a regular basis, you can look at the search term reports last year and see how you did. Another opportunity is the search query performance report, which this is such an awesome report. And we're going to talk a lot more about it later on. But if you look at the ASIN level, what you can do is you can go back to December of last year. If you have a brand registry, you can go back and check out your ASIN performance from December of last year, and you can get a feel for the search volume on certain keywords, get a feel for which keywords show up during this time. Sometimes there's some new ones, some giftable keywords, and it's just a wealth of information to see how you did last year. So this is a really great place. I would say start from November and December and start to do some investigation and then start to come up with a game plan. I mean, so I put this presentation together in September. It's getting a little late, like it's like mid-October. All of these strategies you can still pull off and put together, but I would say that, you know, there's the window of opportunity, I would say the next 2 to 3 weeks to really hone in on these and really start to strategize to have a really good Q4. All right, so the search query performance, if you're not paying attention to this, I would highly recommend going in there and studying this. Spend a couple hours, dig out like what is performing really well and go from there. Now I'm gonna glance over this because later on we'll spend way more time on this and we'll go deeply into like what this actually tells us. But for now, we'll go to the next slide. The next thing is to know your goals. So is your goal to maximize profit? Is it to increase your brand visibility? Do you want to clear inventory? Do you want to sell at break even? Do you want to sell at a profit? Maybe you want to sell at a loss because you want to acquire a customer. The thing is, it's going to be different for every single product that you have. Every product's going to have a different goal, but it's important to know what that goal is because a lot of sellers go into this time period unclear about what their goals are. And if you don't know what your goals are, then you can't tie that to a specific KPI. So for example, let's say your goal is to break even. Then of course you're going to have an ACOS goal tied to that, which would be at your break even point, which most people is around 25, 30, 35%. But let's say you're willing to spend a little to acquire a customer because your goal is to have that customer come back over and over and you have a consumable product, then maybe your ACOS goal is 70%. You know, maybe you want to acquire new to brand sales and you want to maximize your new to brand sales. Well, then you're really going to want to set up the campaigns that measure new to brand sales and you're going to want to maximize those as well. So like I said, it's different for every person on this call, different for every brand, different for every single product. But to know your goals is super important. This is also going to help you tie into your budget as well, because if you have a budget for Q4 and you have a goal tied to that budget, then you know exactly how much you could spend to gain impression share or to gain brand awareness, or maybe you want to spend all of it on the lower hanging fruit to maximize ROAS. It really depends on each individual person in this call. So yeah, big important thing is to know your goals. All right, back to the basics again, beef it up. So probably Shai has mentioned this many times. Advertising is 50% of it is getting awareness and getting the click and selling the click. The other 50% is improving the conversion rate. So if we can maximize the conversion rate, you're going to improve the performance. Now, keep in mind that Q4 is amplified. If you have a really crappy listing, really crappy performance, there's going to be more traffic to amplify that crappy performance. If you make small tweaks and improvements that have good conversion rate and good click-through rate, that's going to be maximized as well. So the small incremental changes that you make to maximize your conversions and to maximize your click-through rate is really going to matter. Now, like I said before, it's really getting a little bit later to really do a lot of conversion rate testing. And we'll talk about experiments in a minute. But a lot of these things you can add to maximize your conversion rate. And some of them might make small tweaks in your conversion. Some of them might make bigger tweaks. But things like adding coupons, of course, that can help to increase your click-through rate. Getting badges will help to improve or increase the size of your listing, specifically on mobile, which size really does matter when it comes to getting the click. The bigger, the better. Of course, adding seasonal creative. And I'll go over some examples in a second. Premium A+ content is now available to sellers who used to cost $250,000, which is huge because it looks really, really nice. But now it's available to certain sellers who, I think all they have to do is a couple of easy, simple prerequisites and apply for it, and they can get access to Premium A+ content. I'll show you that in a second. Of course, making some simple copy tweaks, like putting things like, this is a giftable item, or use this as a stock, have this as a stocking stuffer, like putting some copy tweaks in your bullet points, not going crazy with this, but some small copy tweaks to make people realize, hey, this is a giftable item, or to add a couple of keywords without going nuts. You could add that as well. And then, of course, adding a brand story, which I don't think a lot of sellers take the time to build the brand story, but it just takes up more real estate on the page. The point is, all of these are going to help to potentially increase your conversion rate and your click-through rate. Here's an example of what this looks like on mobile. This is a listing that has a couple of badges as opposed to a listing that has no badges. So you see the difference in the size. Now, I don't know exactly what the percentage is of how much bigger that is, but it's much more visually attractive. Even the images are stretched out a little bit more to fit the screen. So I would recommend looking into all of these badges and getting as many as you can, and know that that's a good use of your time, because these little small tweaks can really improve your performance. Here's an example of seasonality. This is the brand McCormick, which I've used as an example in the past before. There's a website at the bottom. You can see all these examples. But McCormick seems to do a lot of things right with their branding and with their creative. So you can see that on the left, we have the November McCormick. In the middle, we have December McCormick. And on the right, we have after the holiday season. And you can see that they keep it seasonal with seasonal images on their storefront page. If you go to this website, you'll see many other examples, and there's some simple tweaks that you can make to just keep it seasonal. It doesn't have to be, intense, but you could make some simple tweaks to improve the feeling that it's a giftable item. Here's another example, seasonality. We have Hershey. They do a really good job as well. You could see on the left, we have the December version, and on the right, we have the boring old January, middle of winter version. So big difference between the two. And you could see they just put like gift wrapping paper in the back on one of the examples. And on the top, they have like an image of like a platter of different chocolates, but it looks like it's a giftable item. So keep that in mind if your product is a giftable item, to add some seasonal imagery. This is an example of how big the Premium A+ content is. You could see here that it takes up the entire width of the page, which is really important. Like I said before, size really is important, because if you're taking up more size on the page, then that's less a competition from someone else to come and steal some of the attention. Like if someone's targeting you with ads, if you have all the different things, the bundles, the big Premium A+ content, You have your own targeting on your ads. Then you're taking up more real estate on your actual listing, which is going to help you with conversions, keeping people on attention on your page. This is really cool too, because it gives it a really nice professional look. You can see here that there's different options. You can add videos, you could do slideshows. There's all sorts of things you can add in here to give it a nice boost. Now, the prerequisite for this, I know you have to have at least 15 A+ content submissions. Once you have that, then you are allowed to do this. I think there's one more prerequisite, but it's not a big deal. That was the bigger one. As long as you've gotten 15 approvals for your A+ content, then you have to apply for this. And I think they accept people at the end of every month. So there's still time to get this done before the holiday season. And once again, this used to cost $250,000. Here's an example of the brand story. Now we are 11 days away from Halloween. Shai, I don't know, is Halloween a big deal in Israel? Is that a big holiday?
No.
In America, yeah, we love to celebrate The Walking Dead. So we have a whole holiday around it. It's a big holiday by us. As you can see, this is a brand story. And what's really cool about this is it's a seasonal image update from Hershey to reflect the season. So I'm sure that in 10 days from now, after Halloween is over, they're going to switch this over to maybe Thanksgiving or probably even Christmas. The point is, all they really did was add a banner in the background. Running out is scary. And they've got these really cool cards tied to the brand story, and it's very simple and straightforward. And anyone can do this. This is an underutilized method that a lot of sellers aren't really using very much. Okay, so recently at the Amazon Accelerate conference in Seattle, they improved the ability to do experiments. So previous to this, setting up an experiment was always a good thing, but it would take 6 to 8 weeks for the experiment to mature. And, honestly, probably a lot of sellers weren't doing it as much as they could because it took a long time. Maybe they would forget to do it afterwards, and it just wasn't a convenient thing to do. However, now they made the experiments much more convenient. And this is a great way to improve your click-through rate and your conversion rate. Like what we said before, this is 50% of the battle. So I would highly recommend, maybe setting up some kind of reminder or trigger in your calendar or something like that to focus in on setting up experiments, specifically starting with the main image, because that's going to have the biggest impact on your click-through rate. But then working through other things like your headline, your title, your bullet points, and you could do bullet points now, you could do A+ content, and your other images. So the point is, there's been some updates to this in the last couple of weeks. Now they're going to notify you to inform you if your content is too similar. So let's say you want to test two different things, but it's too similar and Amazon doesn't know the difference. They're going to say, hey, this is worth testing, so don't even bother. So they'll notify you right away. That's going to save you time. You have the ability now to also auto-publish winning content. So let's say Amazon in a couple of weeks notices that there's a statistical difference between two different images. You can auto-publish the results. So you don't have to waste a lot of time, still go between the two. Next, they also now allow you to expand to bullet points and product descriptions. So you can test those as well. Probably not going to be as important as the other two that you can test, but still worth testing. And I think, something like this is where you always want to be testing. And the last one is the most important, experiment to significance. So while it used to take like 6 to 8 weeks to get things done, now Amazon, if you auto-publish, will automatically publish your updates as soon as there's a significant difference between the two. So as soon as they know sort of like what the difference or what the winner is, they're going to let you know about that and they're going to publish it. The cool thing about this is you can get a test in every couple of weeks as opposed to every 6 to 8 weeks. And then you can make those small improvements over time. And then you could start to get some wins in your conversion rate and click-through rate. I can't overstate the significance of this. This is such an important piece And it's a big lever to push, specifically when advertising is getting more expensive. If you could do anything to improve your CTR and your conversion rate, that's going to be a big, big, big game changer for people. All right, so let's continue. Next thing is to always think mobile. Yeah, I have the tendency to not think mobile. I'm always working on my app, and I tend to look at things from a desktop perspective because I'm working on my desktop. And I think of mobile like as a secondary means of like, how can this be better on mobile? Whereas a lot of the sales, 60% of the sales are coming through mobile. So if you are like me and you think desktop first, kind of flip that a little bit and think that most people are looking through mobile. A lot of shoppers are also, they're on mobile. They start on mobile. Like let's say you're browsing on your phone in like the middle of the night or something, which is not recommended to do. And they may end up on desktop. So just think that you have to know, you have to do it for both ways. You have to optimize for both mobile and desktop. So keep that in mind as you're going. All right. So are there any questions before we get on to the second topic, which is optimize holiday creative?
Yeah, I think somebody asked, let's check it in the chat. When is the best time to add those seasonable images for Christmas?
I would say after, if you're selling in the US, after the Halloween season, that's when things really start to ramp up. Yeah, the first week in November, by the second week in November, it's full swing holidays. It gets earlier and earlier every year. I just saw Santa Claus 2 weeks ago at CVS. So it does get earlier every year. I think in America, if you're selling in the US, Halloween is the main focus, but November 1st, I would pull the switch November 1st. Chai, what do you think?
I agree with you about it.
All right, so let's continue now. All right, so now we're going to get into holiday creatives, and these are the creatives that you can use for your sponsored brand ads and also sponsored display ads, because you can use creative on sponsored display. So many of you may not be aware of this. There's the ability to create your own holiday videos. And Amazon has a tool now that you can do this. It's not the prettiest tool in the world. This is what it looks like. There's actually a link to this when you log in. And you'll see, you know, it's I got to be honest, it's slow. It's a little buggy. It's not the greatest experience. I think they're going to make it better. And there's really only one template that actually looks good. The others look like really bad. This one template is not bad. It's not amazing, but if you're looking for a quick solution to make videos, this is a good solution. Then you could also, the point is if you can do these videos quickly or have someone in your team make these videos quickly, you could turn some of your seasonal creative into seasonal videos very, very quickly. Now there's one called Belle Naturale. That's the only one that I would recommend, because if you look at the images size, this one's filling out the full size of the screen. Now look at the images to the left and to the right. The one on the right is like this basically all background, and it's like this tiny.
It's amazing. It's amazing how did he launch that kind of tools.
I don't, so like, and you could see the background on the middle one. You could see it's just in the background. It's like basically the same looking thing, but it doesn't make any sense. So Belle Naturale is the way to go. And then what you could do is you could take your holiday creative, which is very simple. You know, you could hire somebody on Fiverr to slice up your holiday images a little bit, but then turn those holiday images into simple videos. Takes about 15 minutes to make one of these videos, or less, depending on how good you are at it. You could also get very specific with these. If there's a specific search term that you want to go after, maybe there's a giftable search term, you could add that to this. So there is customization that you can add if you're going and targeting on a hyper search term level, which I do recommend doing if there's enough search volume. If there's not enough search volume, then you could group a bunch of them together and you can go after them as a group in an ad group. So we also have,
Mike, I just want to give a small tip about the previous slide.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a tool called Canva, you can use it. There is a few templates, very professional template that it's for free and you can make it better. But the question is if maybe Amazon wants to test this tool right now, so maybe they will give more places, more impressions, if somebody will create the slides from the specific tools. This is interesting to understand. I don't know if we can check it, but I assume that Amazon wants to test it. So maybe it's better to make it on Canva and then to make it also on Amazon tool and then to check the data after that. But Canva is for free, and even if there is a free month, and after that it's a cheap tool, then it's very easy to create a very professional slide over there, video slide.
Yeah, it's a great tip. And you know, these videos are only 15 seconds long on Amazon, which is great. I think that's what converts the best, so the 15-second long videos. We actually tested these compared to like other videos that we got that were a little more professional. They weren't amazing videos. These actually outperformed these crappy looking Amazon ones outperformed. You know, and this is something where I would continue to test and think outside of the box. The other day I saw, remember those old school whiteboard videos? Do you remember those back in the day? Like when people had color, where they just whiteboarded and everything. And then I saw a 15-second whiteboard video and it caught my attention right away. It's like, oh man, this is a really good idea. So like just test different things. And sometimes cheaper is better. You know, like really quick on videos, like, you know, if something's really professional these days, like maybe that's great, but maybe it's not. Maybe people are looking for things that are just more down to earth, you know, maybe a video from somebody or something that's not as high quality production. But let me move on. And Shai just brought this up. This is a Canva video. We actually have a link to this. Someone on my team made Shai, I'll give this to you. You can share it in the group. We made a holiday template. It's a little cheesy, you know, but it's better. I think it's better than the one from Amazon. It's 15. This one's 30 seconds. Yeah, it's got holiday music. It's very simple. You could just upload. You could just add your product. There's like some holiday images that come in and out. So Shai, I'll give you the link and you could share that in the group. Is that cool?
Yeah, thank you. Great.
All right. So this is a pretty new update. It was newer a couple of weeks ago when I put these slides together. Some of you still may not be aware of it, but this is important. So there's a new update for sponsored brand video to storefront with top of search. What this means is that the very best real estate on all of Amazon now has video. I mean, that's huge. That's massive. So top of search, I'll show you what it looks like in a second. If you go to video and you go to landing page and you select a storefront, as opposed to a product page, then you're going to see that the ad preview shows up top of search for both mobile and desktop. And what's cool about this is you can see the ad previews and you can see what it looks like.
Can you go to the previous? Sorry, can you go to the previous slide? Can I see it again? Where it is? Where you choose this one.
Yeah, this. So you click on video, and then you'll see. There's a landing page. You select a storefront. Once you select a storefront, you'll see that the video creator is a little bit different. You can add the headline, you can add the logo, the brand name, and you can see also up here that there's two different places, and they're both top of search. That's the critical thing here. So this is
Mike. If I can add another, if you can go back one, you can see that the most important thing is the choose the page, because before you can do that and you were actually refer the ads to the home page. And today you can send the video if you open the choose a page to a specific page. And that's one of the changes that is really important change. So if you choose a page, you can actually send the traffic to the video ads to other page, not only to the home page. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep in mind, like, so a month ago, 2 months ago, maybe it's different per account, but like the accounts that I was in, this was the only option available, product detail page, right? So then you're sending traffic specifically to a product detail page. Now that we're going to a storefront, and what Hannah just said was we're also going, I think that was Hannah, that we can also select a page on our storefront. Now we can open the floodgates for different strategy, brand awareness. We can maybe even do giftable items. We could, like, there's so many different things now that we can do that this has opened up. And it's at the very top of Amazon, and we can capture attention right away. So this is one of those things where it's probably got some first user advantage, if first mover advantage. Like if you take action before your competition and start testing this, that's probably better off than waiting on this. Like pretty much that's been Rashai, would you agree that that's the way to go when you have a new ad type? You want to test it right away, not blow the bank on, but you take a little bit and you test it right away and you get that first mover advantage.
Yeah, all the time. Especially when there's, not a lot of people are using this specific slot, the CPC it's much lower. The cost is very low for the CPC. So because not a lot of people are bidding on it. So it's a good chance to get a good spot in low price.
Right. So now imagine taking some long tail search terms that probably no one's going after for this particular type of ad and testing on long tail search terms, because most people are going to see this and probably test the major search terms right away. And you could do that as well. But what if you also tested some longer tail search terms where probably your competition is going to take some time to get there? Just an idea and worth testing. All right. So this is what it looks like. The next thing, generate unique.
Mike, just to make it clear, when somebody will click on the ad, it will direct to the page in the storefront, not to the product page.
Yeah, so
I don't know why Amazon didn't open it also, because at the end it's a place that the video will be shown. And I don't know what is the reason Amazon doesn't open it also for product page. So what I recommend is to test one time to direct the customer to the homepage, for example. Second time to create a specific page for this product, only for this product, and then to direct them to this product. It will be similar like to bring the traffic, to send the traffic to the listing, to the main listing. So I think it's a good way to bring the traffic directly to the Bible.
I think it's even better because when you direct them to your page, to the designated page that you're doing for the product, there is nobody else that is promoting their product on this page.
Exactly.
Only you.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good point. Thank you, man.
So now keep in mind, that's a really good point. Thank you so much. And also like that's more for like the lower funnel strategies where you want to get the sale right then and there. This can also be used for higher funnel strategies where you're looking to send people to your storefront page just to get brand awareness. So now the videos for those two would likely be different, where you would have a specific product video to direct traffic to your specific product page. Now we couldn't do that before. We couldn't do that because it really didn't make a lot of sense because you'd have a brand awareness ad that would go to a specific product page. Now we can create a brand awareness ad that goes to maybe the storefront homepage. So now more people are aware of the unique products that you have. So little slight difference in strategy, but I like that idea because you're right. No competition will be on the product pages for the storefront pages. All right, so next we have the unique headlines. Once again, you can combine this. You can see like there's a headline opportunity over here for the sponsored brand video. So now we can start to combine these strategies. This is important to think about some unique holiday headlines. We have a tool available for free. Shai, you can share this with the group as well. It's on our site. It's on the PPC Entourage homepage. And we have what's called the headline creator. When you go there, you're going to see about maybe 30 or 40 different headline templates. We have a section specifically for holidays. Now, truth be told, some of them are a little cheesy, just a little cheesy, but you could take this as an idea, play with your search terms, play with your products, and start to generate different types of headlines. These work really well when you combine them with giftable keywords. If you have a giftable keyword specific to your niche, we'll talk about that more in a second. But you want to make sure that you use this with the right keywords. Like I maybe wouldn't use this with your most competitive keyword, or you could. But you also, the reason why I say that is you may have ads that are seasoned already for those competitive keywords. So think about, if there's a giftable keyword that you can connect these different headlines to. All right, create a gift storefront page.
Those headlines are going to the title.
What's that?
To the title of those headlines, you're putting it in the title?
So these are for sponsors.
The title of the product?
Well, okay.
For the sponsor, sorry. Okay.
In the headline, in the head.
So this can go down.
Yeah, for the sponsor brand videos. Yeah.
This can go sponsor brand video. This can go sponsor brand. This could also go sponsored display. And we have a section over here for sponsored display, because in sponsored display, you want to highlight what's better about your product compared to your competitors. So these are more different types of headlines. These are like, try ours because of this, and all these different suggestions. But the point is, like, depending on what your needs are, you can come over here and swipe some of these. All right. Next, create a gift storefront page and drive traffic with now sponsored brand ads and sponsored brand video ads. So what is a gift storefront page? Here's an example from Hershey's where they got this set up for Halloween. You could see here, there's an entire section dedicated to Halloween. You go over here, it's a beautiful Halloween theme. You could then use this as a destination for your sponsored brand headline ads and your sponsored brand video ads, and you can drive traffic to this page. So really cool, way to do it. Let's say you have like stocking stuffers. You could even have a dedicated category for stocking stuffers. You could break it down by, who it's the audience, who it's for, gifts for mom, gifts for dad, like that sort of thing. There's all sorts of things you could do in a creative way, but then you can drive traffic specifically to this page. All right, this is the fun part. Get ready to make a splash. Now, keep in mind, we're a little late into the season for some of these things. There still is time. Ideally, this is done probably about a month ago for some of these things. So I just want to point that out as we're going through this. But let's go through it. First thing, target keywords before the increase in traffic. This is the one I'm really talking about. So the traffic's going to start to ramp up probably this month, definitely next month, definitely in December. You can see if you go to Google search, Google Trends, or if you go to any keyword tool, you can see patterns like this, where it's kind of flat in the summertime, and then it starts to ramp up. You can see here late September, now we're in October, and then boom, it goes really high, peaks out, and then it dies off. Now, keep in mind, this is for a major holiday keyword, Christmas decorations, Amazon. So obviously there's going to be a lull in the summertime. But if you're going to increase your rank or try to increase your rank on this particular keyword, the worst time to start to do that is like in this time period, because you're going to have to spend a lot of money to do it. Not a good idea. The best time to do it would be right over here. So targeting beforehand and learning what those opportunities are, checking the trends, and then sort of getting in before to start to get that rank improvement is the way to go here. And the best tool, in my opinion, because it's first-party data, it's not third-party data from a tool. The best way to do this is through the search query performance report. Now, can I see in the comment section how many people have been using this report? Is this something that's popular? If you've been using it, just type in yes or yes, I've been using it. I'd like to know if this is something people are actually taking advantage of. Awesome. Nick says yes. Michael says yes. If you say if no, that's cool too. Good. Michael, yes. Maddie, yes. Rand says I did not use it. Awesome. A lot of Michaels. Man, there's a lot of Michaels in the world, huh? We're all using. Okay, we got a good amount of no's as well. All right, so I'm going to go into what this is, and then we'll go into how we can utilize it. All right, so as you can see here, I have pointed out the month of December, And in the month of December, we can now see on an ASIN level, it used to be just the brand level, and when all the search terms were kind of mixed together. But now we could put in the ASIN and we can see for last December, or even go back into October, November, you can see which keywords performed, which search terms performed, and you can start to see how many impressions you're getting compared to your competition. So you can see like the impression share, the click share, the add to cart share, and the purchase share. The really cool thing about this information is if you start to dig into it a little bit, obviously you can start to see how you do compared to your competition. But you could also start to see how the shoppers are actually shopping for products. If it's a high purchase intent product, or if it's a low purchase intent product where people are just browsing, because these numbers do tell a story. Now you have to do a little bit of math, and yes, it's worth your time, I think, because it'll help you to craft a plan. But it's important to know, are these keywords where a keyword where people are going to take action right away? Or is it just a keyword where they're just browsing? So we'll go into specific details in a second. But what I want to say is this is a great place to get information on different long tail search terms where there may be an opportunity to improve your rank. And if we go back to the previous slide, and let's say we've identified that, we're doing fairly well in this time frame last year. We did fairly well on some keywords, not as good as we want to do. Then this would be the time frame to start to build our rank, to start to improve on the search query performance for this year. We wouldn't want to wait until this time frame. We'd want to do it over here. But the point is, we can see how we did in this time frame. We can see where there's an opportunity. We can see if we're on the bottom of page 1 or the top of page 2, and we can start to make moves to start to improve our ranking for those various keywords. Very important information. Now, obviously, there's a million ways to rank. I highly recommend looking into external traffic and having a specific plan, combining that with internal traffic. That's where Pixelme comes into play, and we're utilizing that on our team to help sellers identify the opportunities from the bottom of page 1 or the top of page 2 to start to get better positioning. Because also, as you dive into this data, you'll realize that 80% of the click share comes from maybe the top 15 products. It's going to be different. And if you go into the product opportunity explorer, you can see that on a search term level. You can start to see like, what position do I have to be in to get a good chance of getting the click? And it's going to be different. But these two tools, the product opportunity explorer and the search query performance, are just filled with a wealth of information. And I would spend time studying that to see where are my opportunities, how can I target those opportunities beforehand so that I can get these numbers to improve for this year. That's the general goal. Now let's go into the ASIN view. Let's go into what we know. In order to understand this, you really have to know what you're looking at, because this was confusing to me when I first started. I was like, this doesn't make sense because the data didn't match up. So what you're looking at is the search query performance includes all search, paid and organic. So, all of the results we get from paid and organic is included in that report. It does not include the sales from direct sales. Let's say you're sending traffic from Google directly to a product page. Does not include those sales, or an email straight to a product page does not include those sales. It does not include sales from targeting. So targeting an ASIN, someone lands on that ASIN, they purchase yours instead, does not include those sales. It also does not include widgets. So any widgets like the sponsored product widgets, 4+ stars or 4 or more stars or whatever it is, does not include those sales either. This is the most important thing. It's a 24-hour attribution. So when somebody types in one of these search terms, if they purchase within 24 hours, you're going to see the results over here under the purchases. You're still going to see the impressions. You're going to see the clicks. You're going to see if they add it to the cart, you'll see that. But it all has to be done within the 24-hour attribution. This, I think, is the reason why the numbers are off the most. If you looked at your sales like, oh, that seems very low or whatever, it's because there's a 24-hour attribution. And I didn't know that until I I listened to Amazon talk about this directly. I was like, oh, that's why. 24-hour attribution. That makes sense. Now, what's cool about knowing that it's a 24-hour attribution is that we can then start to figure out what is the purchase intent of the average shopper who's looking with these different shop queries. Is it a high purchase intent, meaning they're going to purchase within 24 hours? Or is it a lower purchase intent, meaning they searched for it, but the sale didn't come in until maybe after 24 hours or never at all? So it tells us a lot of information. And this is where we can start to dive into this information and figure things out. And I did that on a bunch of different keywords and sort of came up with some trends that I noticed. So here we have the high purchase intent terms. And I'll go over an example in a second. But high purchase intent terms, these are like the specific keywords or search terms that like talked about your product. Like I always use cat litter mat as an example. If somebody searches for cat litter mat, they're typically going to go there and buy it. It's a cheaper item, high purchase intent. If someone's looking for cat toys or maybe or cat gifts, that would be an even better example. That's maybe something that's a lower purchase intent where they're browsing. And you can start to see that when you look into some of this information. So higher purchase intent terms, there's less ASINs viewed, meaning they're not viewing as many ASINs, which means they're not going down the page or to the second page as much. They're sticking to, maybe the first 20 or the first 30. You'll see the numbers in a second. But this is important because if you're going after high search intent keywords and you're not visible on the first page, you're probably not going to get a sale for those. That's what these numbers are showing. Next, high add to cart purchase rate. So essentially this means that the percentage of people adding to cart and purchasing, obviously this is an obvious one. It's going to be higher than the browse-based keywords. You can see this in the numbers. Lower clicks per customer rate, meaning people are not clicking on as many listings. They're going to maybe a few listings and they're sticking to maybe the top listings. They're choosing or picking from those and they're making their purchase. You'll notice this in the numbers, as opposed to the lower purchase intent terms. So these are more browse-based terms. You'll see that more ASINs are viewed. So there's more impressions, and it goes to maybe even the second page, which is interesting to see. There's a lower add to cart and purchase rate, obviously for these, but there's also higher clicks per customer rate, meaning for those people who are clicking and purchasing, they're actually clicking on more listings than they are compared to the higher purchase intent keywords. So here's an example of what this looks like. We have, like the example I just gave, we have two different search terms. We have the cat litter mat, which is typically a high purchase intent search term. 45% are just browsing, meaning they're not clicking at all. Like they're just typing in cat litter mat and maybe just going through Amazon. That's it. 45%. Those 45%, all of these people are going on average 59 ASINs deep. So they're only getting to the 59th ASIN, which essentially means they're not browsing to the second page. The average amount of clicks per shopper is 2.42. So it means they're only going on 2.5 different listings, and there's a 5.73 purchase percentage. This is considered higher purchase intent. Now check out the lower purchase intent. Nearly 80% of people are just browsing. So this, like if you think about this, you tie it all together, this is really good for more brand awareness, audience targeting. If you're looking to get brand awareness, and you also know you're only paying for the click, you're not paying unless they click, then for this particular keyword, 80% are just browsing. And they're going 84 ASINs deep as opposed to 59 ASINs deep. So they're going to the second page with 3.6 clicks per shopper. So if they do decide to click, which think about it, not too many are, only 20% of them are clicking. They do decide to click, they're clicking on 3 to 4 products and a very low purchase rate, 2.81. So how can this be beneficial? This can be beneficial if you're looking to target those lower purchase intent keywords with more of a brand awareness, top of funnel type of play. And then also knowing this information, if you're going after a higher purchase intent keyword and you're on the top of page 2, well, I hate to tell you, you're probably not going to get the sale because people likely aren't going to get there to begin with. They're not going to see it. And that's where you would combine strategies with what we talked about before, with doing your best to at least get to where these people are going, 59 ASINs deep. You at least have to get there. The higher, the better. Does that make sense to everyone? Any questions about that? Shai, what do you think?
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Can I ask a small question?
Sure.
Yeah, the question is very, very simple. So in the end of the day, you can see, because you base this on this data, that how many people only browsing and how many people going inside the iSense. But what really is interesting, it's percent of purchases that people enter into the special keyword. So where is the board? So we can see here, for example, that 5.73, it's high purchase intent, and 2.81, it's low. So where's the board between the good and the not good?
Well, I think the only way that you can know that is to compare it to the other. So if we go back over here, you can compare it to the other search terms. So the higher purchase intent search terms will be the highest of the bunch. You'll see like 6%, 8%, 9%, whereas a lower purchase intent will be lower percentage. And then you can start to do the math to see what I just showed you. It's very simple formulas to see how many ASINs deep, how many ASINs are they clicking, that sort of. But it's going to be different on a search term level. But you would just go here and do that. It's very easy. And then you can go month to month and check it out. We will build a tool around this eventually inside of Entourage to make it very easy to understand this.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions about this? All right. So then, like I said, use Google traffic to target new customers. This is really important because I want to show you this slide. 22%, this is for July of 22% of Amazon traffic came through search. So this means people are actually searching on Google for Amazon. They're going to, I do this all the time too. I go to my phone, which opens up to Google, and then I type in like a keyword or something on Amazon. And that leads me into Amazon as opposed to just going to Amazon. So that's a really big percentage. And the point is, if you could take advantage of some of the information that we just went over and then combine it with the knowledge of knowing that a lot of traffic is coming directly from Google. And if you target some of the search terms that something like let's say cat litter mat on Amazon, it's possible that your competition is not doing this strategy. And then you could start to strategically get ranked. You know, external traffic is only good. It's really good if you know if you know how to target the right keywords. I think if you're just doing it without a plan, you can get into trouble that way. But knowing a strategy and combining that, I think with this is the best way to do it. And then moving forward.
But Mike, can I ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about it? But how do you promote those keywords that you want in Google? What is the simplest solution for this?
So knowing that people search first on Google to get to Amazon, you would then target those search terms on Google with a Google display, Google AdWords ad, like Google AdWords.
Oh, okay,
so
I see.
You want
I just have one thing, Mike. It's not completely correct. I'm sorry. I'm doing also Google Ads myself. If you want to target a keywords directly to Amazon, you have to do some tricks and create URL. Because if you put keywords in Google, that's not lead them directly to the keyword in Amazon. It's two different things. One thing is to put keywords in your Google Ads that will lead them to a URL link. That could be your list, that could be your product, whatever. That URL, if you want to trick Amazon, and that's a bit dangerous, but you can do that, you need to create your own URL that will send the traffic directly to the keyword. So that these two different things. And if you are sending a traffic that will not convert, you need to take in account that you are going to damage your conversion rate and actually damage your position, organic position. So if you are using this tool, you need to use it very carefully. That's my advice for that. It's not that easy. It's true that if you are using it right, you maybe get much more rank than the organic rank in Amazon or like sponsor rank, but it's not, you need to do it smartly.
And you, so we're not doing any links manipulation. I was assuming you're not doing that as well.
I am actually. I am doing that because I'm sorry, I will be honest, but if I try to use the attribution, it's not accurate and it's not helping so much. So actually we are doing links and it's very easy to do that. And then you send traffic directly to Amazon, but yes, you cannot use attribution and the same time to use the links. You have to decide which strategy you want, this or this.
Okay. Thank you very much for your insight. Appreciate that.
I just want to recommend to give my side that it's not a game for sellers that have a low budget. So if you have only a few $1,000s, put it in Amazon, invest it on Amazon. If you are spending a few $1,000s on Amazon, you can check it and you will know that it's a process of minimum 3 months. So if you are not there, don't get in. This is my recommendation.
Yeah. So, okay, thank you. I would say that this tip too is really for sellers who have a bigger budget, the brand awareness. So to the same tune of creating a splash. So brand awareness is just that, creating a splash before. This is something you'd like to do before the holiday season. Obviously, the more touch points you get with a client, with a customer, the better. And that means like adding like different types of ads, like sponsored brand video, sponsored display before peak season. So now keep in mind, we have the sponsored brand video option for this as well. If you target those browse-based keywords, we could target them with the sponsored brand video and you're only paying for the click. So this is a great way to get brand awareness. Now, like what Shai said before, this is more if you have the budget for this or have a specific budget for this. But the point is you can combine this information and make a splash before the holiday season, priming people, getting them ready for the holiday season before, and then hit them up with a retargeting ad during the holiday season itself. So just another tip. All right, so another tip. Now this is in DSP. This is called an overlap report. An overlap report is going to show you the audiences and how much consistency there is between the audiences and if there's any overlap. So for example, someone who's in market, you can see here for candy and chocolate gifts. If you go down all the way at the bottom, there's an affinity or a connection also between people who are in market for breadsticks. Now, that's not as high as the people who are in market for chocolate assortments. The point is you can start to find out who some of your audience is and where they're hanging out outside of just your main audience. And then you can target them with sponsored display to get a little bit more top of funnel in the brand awareness stage. Now, again, this is all leading up to the holiday season. Unless you have a year-round brand awareness budget, this would be done ideally now or even like a month ago. Start to lead them up into the holiday season to get more of the brand awareness.
Mark, where do you find this report? Where do you find it in Seller Central?
This is available inside of DSP. If you're working with an agency that has DSP, they'll have access to this. It's called the Affinity Audiences. And it's really cool because what you do is you would take this information and then you would test out sponsored display ads. And the key word is test. Some of them might work, some of them might not work at all. But here, you think the name of the game for brand awareness is you're looking to get touch points. You're looking to get people to view your ad. So this is where your audience is sort of hanging out in other niches. All right, so create brand awareness using sponsor brand video ads, and sponsored display ads before peak season. Oh, I just went over that. All right, so let's go over audience. Know your audience. All right, really important here. Now, this is from like throughout the years of realizing that it's just not a good idea to do research-based campaigns during peak season. So let's say you're testing out different keywords, different audiences, different targets. There's a good time to do it, and there's a not great time to do it. And if you're testing things out during peak season, keep in mind that if it doesn't work, it's going to cost you up to 4 times likely more money than if you're testing it during an off-peak season. So the point is, this isn't really the time to be spending a lot of money on research-based campaigns where you're testing new keywords or ASINs, or even consider that broad match might not perform as well if it's getting too broad of a reach. And also things like auto campaigns, where I always recommend keeping the auto campaigns on. But the point is, like, if you're doing research now, this isn't the time to do it. Shai, do you have anything to add to this?
I think we need to use just start the data from the if you have the data from the past season. So instead of doing research, try to bring the data from there.
Right. So this is meant for the campaigns that are you have data on, as opposed to doing new research.
Yeah, but in the peak time, I recommend not to spend money on that. We can check. We know what. I prefer to focus on the keyword, on the search term, than the keyword that we have high conversion rate. Most of the sales are coming from there, and to focus on conversion rate also, on traffic.
Okay, so next tip, avoid generic keywords like gifts for men, because it's too generic. It's going to end up likely spending a lot of your budget and not giving you a good result. So what you can do is you can check out the search query report to see if there's any giftable keywords that do come up. And you could check from last holiday season to see. Like for example, let's say like barbecue gifts for men, or beef jerky gifts for men, or something like that, where it's a longer tail keyword that you can definitely rank for or target because it's very relevant to what you're selling. So the search query report will give you some of that information. And then of course you can also target and put some SEO, but I wouldn't recommend going nuts with this. Just keep it very easy, keep it very simple. Maybe update your backend search terms, put some of them back there. Not as important as some of the other things that I mentioned on here, but you can target them with your ads and also sprinkle them into your SEO. So very simple. Other tip, search for gift in the new Amazon audience section for sponsored display. If you go over here and you type in gifts, this is for sponsored display ads. You'll see there's 45 different results that show up. Some of these might be relevant to what you're selling. So go ahead and check that out and see if there's an audience that you can target. And this is cool because if, let's say, you're selling a baby gift, this is in market for baby gifts. So this is definitely an audience that I would want to target. All right, next, I really hope that...
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, so first of all, the question, if we sponsor display target, for example, baby gift, the question if it's not too broad to target. For example, because I tried to do this, even not in seasonal time, in August, September, and the results was very bad. I have a toys product, toys brand. And this is first question, for example.
So you're selling a toys brand, but you targeted in market for baby gifts? Is that
no. I targeted my market. I only give this like, for example, I targeting for boys gift or girls gift, like this.
Yeah, it's gonna be something that you have to test. Definitely give it a test. And if it doesn't work, then you would move on. But
okay,
you would test it, and it sounds like you did, and it's not worth it for you.
Oh, okay. And sorry, two questions in addition in this. In this question, what do you think about the word? It's not generic, but it's almost 70% of generic. For example, toys for 8 years old boys, or toys for 8 years old girls, or 10 years, or Christmas gift for 8 years old boy. For example, this generally it's now before Christmas we have growing of those search terms. But I tried this to work with PPC last year. It was terrible because this I asked.
Yeah, I don't have high hopes for it, to be honest. Yeah, obviously you have to test it. Maybe you could test it with a new ad type, maybe to try with a sponsor brand video or try, but I don't have such high hopes. It's too broad. It's got to be more specific. People are probably browsing. As you saw from the results of the search query report, people are definitely browsing on Amazon specifically for gifts. That's the highest one. Does anyone else have any? That's my thought. Anyone else have any ideas they want to share?
I think that it's a game of budget, because if you have a limited budget, I don't recommend to focus on this is very generic keyword. Toys for 6 years old, it's super generic. It's not focused on specific product. It can bring tons of clicks. For sure, the conversion rate will be low, very low, and the CPC will be high because everybody wants to bid on it. So if you have a very big budget, you need to test it. If you have a limited budget, try to focus on the keyword that you rank up on them, that you have high conversion rate, and they are not too broad. And I recommend, as you just said, to put in the name of the product inside the keyword. So it's gift for men or some gift for boy, but I don't know the name of the product inside. So it will be more specific. So people that are searching for it, we're more willing to buy it. And again, it's a game of budget. And I know that a lot of sellers, they are limited on budget. So I don't recommend to start with it.
For example, we can try the STEM toys for boys, and it's more specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can also go over here and search and start to see, get more specific with your search and see what shows up. It's another opportunity here. So like I wouldn't want to target any of these unless I had a huge budget, toys for boys, 6 to 8.
Or you can, if you like, you can even try to do a low beats, like nuggets campaign only for these keywords, but put it as a phrase and then navigate a lot of keywords there. And then what you are is actually trying, you can catch it in a very low beats, in a very low echoes, and not spending a lot of money. And another option is to try it with a VCPM campaigns, meaning like by impressions. And that's actually another good option to try to find these keywords and research and see if you can discover some other without spending a lot of budget.
Yeah, do you have a good experience with VCPM campaigns?
Yes, but you have to be patient. They are starting to perform sometimes only after 2 weeks or something like that. Today, the beats is very high. I already saw that some of them start with $10. Yes, but it's for 1,000 impressions. So sometimes it's worth it, especially with, high search of term keywords. So, give it a try. Maybe it will be much worth than other, like definitely not exact campaign or like high beats campaign for a very generic and high keywords search of volume. But it's the keywords that you want to try. Definitely it's in your category. So I would try maybe like a low beats campaign or this kind of campaign. Yeah.
Thanks.
was great. Okay, let's continue. All right, so our next topic is to align inventory, marketing, and cash flow. This should go without saying, but like if you're going to stock out of inventory, then you might as well not spend a lot of money to advertise that product. So if you're doing really well in the holiday season, maximize your profitability and cash flow. Chelsea from SoStocks has a great presentation on this. She goes into great depth, but the big point that she came through was basically this: if you're going to stock out, you might as well align your inventory with your cash flow and maximize your profitability. This is an interesting one. I want to bring attention to this, day parting. So this is a controversial topic, and there's a really good podcast that I listen to that has a really good episode on this called the Ad Advance Podcast, specifically on day parting. And what's cool about this is they talk about the hour of the day and how in the middle or the morning, all of the sellers are back in budget for a particular keyword. So like, let's say there's a highly competitive keyword. Everyone's going to have different budgets. By the end of the day, some of the sellers might be out of the budget. So what happens is there's less competition for that keyword. And then at the beginning of the day, at the probably the worst time where there's the least purchase intent, everyone's back in budget. And what happens is that's when the highest cost per click is, at the very beginning of the day. So it could be 12 o'clock in the morning. People are sleeping. There's some people up, doing their thing. That's when the cost per click is the highest. And then it tends to go down throughout the day. The reason I bring that up is if you have a limited budget, that might be an opportunity to delay the start of your ads or to reduce the bid on your ads during that time of the day when there's the lowest purchase intent with the highest cost per click. So what you'll notice I'm talking about the US market, at 8 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time, 8 Eastern, that's the highest conversion of the day. So we go from the lowest conversion in the beginning, in the beginning of the day, like late at night, like 1 in the morning. And then it's really low, it's really low, it's really low. And then it starts to rise up and it actually peaks at 8 in the morning. Now, this is generally across all the different products on Amazon. And then it slowly starts to go down throughout the day until it gets to the lowest point at like 1 in the morning. All right. So if you are going to consider day parting, which I think is going to become a critical part of advertising very soon to maximize efficiency. Because what we can do with day parting is eventually, and I know that there are some tools where you can do it now. Entourage will have this very soon, is you could optimize for the hour of the day. So essentially figuring out what is my performance at 6 in the morning versus 6 at night, and how can I maintain the ACOS targets that I want throughout the day, as opposed to having really crappy ACOS at 1 in the morning and really good ACOS at 8 in the morning. You know what I mean? So keep this in mind, that if you are on a budget, you can consider day parting. Also keep in mind, kind of a strategy thing here, if you're looking to get brand awareness, the lowest conversions is in later on in the evening and at night. So the theory here is that you can do a lot of your brand awareness type of ads and consider pausing them in the beginning of the day and putting them on when people are more likely to be browsing, which is at the end of the day. Just another way that you can reverse this and do it from a brand awareness play. Now, we talked about the brand awareness keywords, for example, cat toys. So an example of this would be targeting cat toys towards the end of the day when people are browsing and getting in front of that audience and then retargeting them in that way. All right. So a lot of little things you can do here. This is going to become a really big part, I believe, in the future. It's always been like very theoretical in the past, and there's been lots of controversy on this, but I think this is going to be really big going forward, just so that we can maintain our ACOS. As the cost per click gets higher, we need to be better with the utilization of our ad spend. So Nick writes, how can you do day parting? So if you just have Seller Central, then you can hire a VA or do it yourself and pause campaigns at certain parts of the day, which probably wouldn't be recommended, very time consuming. You can also use a tool, a third-party tool, to turn campaigns off or on during certain parts of the day, like PPC Entourage. I do note there are tools out there that can also do hourly. We are working on that right now. Probably should have that within the next 6 to 8 weeks. And then what that means is on an hourly basis, you'll be able to raise or lower your bids and budgets. And then we can have an optimized bid on a regular basis throughout the day. That is like the holy grail right there. That's what we want. We want to set a target ACOS. We want to set a target budget. We want to make sure your budget maintains throughout the day. You're in budget the whole day, and make sure that you can closely match your target ACOS throughout the day. That's would be the holy grail. But then also layer on top of that placement modifiers. That's the hard part. Any other question?
Mike, I just want to give some tip on this issue.
Sure.
If somebody is going to do it with external tool or manually, I recommend not to choose a tool that disable the ad group, or to use a tool that optimize the bid. It means, for example, if you're going to do it manually, I recommend to download the bid and not to stop the campaign or the ad group. So download the bid for 0.1, and then by the way, it's easy in Israel because we are the opposite hour. So our end of the day is the peak hour.
That's
and
true.
To play with the bid and not with the ad groups, because it takes time for the ad group and the campaign to come back to themselves. So it's better to choose a tool or to do it manually by playing with the bid. It's super important.
Yeah, agreed. The option of turning the campaigns off, it takes a while for the campaign to get back to steam. So that's not as good, I believe, as adjusting bids and adjusting the budget on an hourly basis. And that's how we're going to build out our tool in Entourage. It's going to be hourly bid and budget adjustment. Build it out. All right. So next tip, this should go without saying, but worth mentioning, balance your budget towards better performing campaigns. So I highly recommend going into this budget tab inside of Amazon and checking out to see if there's anything that's been out of budget that is performing very well, and making sure you maximize that. But then also thinking about balancing your budget, less budget towards research-based campaigns, as we said, as we get deeper in the season. We're kind of starting to get there. So, the research could have been done like August, September, all that, more research budget. Now, maybe less research budget, and start to balance your budget towards the better performers as we get along, the retargeting, the repurchase, remarketing, like all of that type of stuff as we get closer towards the peak season. Definitely take a look at that. The other thing is just keep in mind that sales tank for a couple of days, typically. Depends on your what you're selling, of course. But on the 22nd, when the product can no longer get to somebody through Prime, 22nd, 23rd, it's pushing it. What's going to happen based on the past is the ACOS is likely going to spike. So you could potentially lower your budget on these days so that you're not just spending a ton of money. All right, so keep that in mind. But then also, if you're going to do that, remember to put it back on, because there is a lot that goes on after the holiday season. Once things settle, people have gift cards, people return, people then look for deals, like all sorts of things happen. It's just that time period that's about 5 days where it's a little bit sluggish, a little bit slow. So to keep that in mind to save a little bit cash on that.
By the way, Mike, it's important if you are selling FBM, you need to check the date before the 22. So it's super important because sometimes people are selling FBA, running two ads, one FBM and one FBA. And then when the FBA is out of stock, the ads continue to run on the FBM. So they need to check it. You need to check it before 2 days or 3 days before the Christmas, because people will see it 1 week before that, they will get it 2 days after the Christmas. So it's important to understand where your product is located.
Absolutely.
Not you're going to lose a lot of money.
All right. So really, really important to also think tacos. I think I do have a slide in here. Tacos is important, which is basically your ACOS when taking into account your organic sales as well. So this is super important. because it's important to know your ad efficiency and your ad spend margin impact is what we call it. This number can get really high, and then it could start to eat away at your profits really fast, especially if you're doing a ton of testing during the holiday season and you have poor campaign structure and all sorts of things. Like your tacos number can get too high, which means you're spending too much money on advertising. It could also be very low, which means you're likely not spending enough. And maybe you have to pump the gas a little bit on advertising. Like in this example here, we're at 3% tacos. Now this is on an account-wide level, but you also want to see this on an individual ASIN level. So we have the margins tool that's available to all people who sign up for PPC Entourage. We will be merging this into PPC Entourage soon, because essentially what this will show you is a lot of details about the profitability and the health of your product, where you're draining and leaking money across all of your different products. But for this presentation, I just want to say that important to know is your ad spend margin impact, or your tacos. What is the ad spend margin impact? Are you overdoing it? Do you need to cut back on some research-based campaigns? Do you need to look into the keyword bleeders where you have zero sales? You have to look at the high ACoS targets, look at your conversion rates across all your different search terms and keywords. Maybe you're overdoing it on product targeting, or maybe one ad type is not performing well and you have to cut back on that. There's a lot that you can tell by looking at your tacos. So definitely start to take account of that if you haven't done so already, and do it on an ASIN level. All right, so next, analyze and organize. So I said this before, and we are almost done here, but I want to mention this again. Clean up now. If something is not performing now, it's going to be magnified in Q4. At the end of this presentation, I will show you the bulk engine inside of Entourage, which I think is the very best way to clean up your campaigns quickly and easily. So we'll go through a quick demo of that. But the point is, like, there's probably some optimizations you can make right now that if you don't make them, come Q4, there's more traffic, there's more bleeding, there's more ad spend. Simple as that. Consider modifying bids. All right, so the reason why I bring this up is that Amazon seasonally, since I've been starting doing this, has been sending out emails every single Q4 telling sellers to raise their bids. Does everyone remember those emails that go out? I mean, I've seen them pretty much every year. This is what it looks like. And I kind of, it's basically telling sellers to increase your bids and budgets. And then it's telling sellers to use dynamic bidding up and down. And then it's telling sellers to make sure you don't run out of budget. It's not telling sellers to make sure you have good tacos or make sure you're not overspending, or, you know, it's not always in our best interest, because all three of these things, if done incorrectly, can lead to excessive waste of ad spend. Now, that being said, a lot of sellers are going to follow this. Hopefully not anyone on this call. You know, hopefully you're optimizing beforehand. You've cleaned things up. Maybe you raise your bid up just a little bit around Black Friday, simply because a lot of sellers are going to be raising their bids. So I originally was going to say something like raise your bids by a certain percentage, but then, you know, it's very different and unique based on your product and your category and your ASIN. A lot of different things go into this. So just, I'm going to leave this as consider modifying your bids, make sure you're optimized beforehand, and then closely watch your performance to see if you're losing impression share, to see if you're losing out, and you need to make some adjustments on the fly. Shai, would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I want to give one tip. So in order to understand if your competitor increased the bids, I recommend to check the placement. So to understand if in this specific bid, you got the top of search, and after that, after 2 days on Black Friday, I don't know, 1 day before that, in the same bid, you are not performing on top of search, it means that this is the time to increase the bid. Because right now your competitor are start working on it, and you will start to perform maybe on places that your product is performing less. So it's super important to check the placement. This is a good indication to understand if your competitors are start to increase the bids.
Well said. Well said.
And also, I don't recommend to work with bids up and down, of course.
No. But I mean, Amazon recommends.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to show you everyone on this call later. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. We have a tool inside of Entourage called the negative word finder. You can do this with a spreadsheet as well. Essentially, this is looking at all the search terms and finding the common words, the individual words amongst all of the search terms that have not led to a sale or are unprofitable. Because there's going to be like probably up to 90% of the search terms are going to be one-off search terms that are different and unique because there's a million ways to say the same thing. And unfortunately, it's not going to probably get to the threshold you have set to do a negative optimization. So there's going to be all of these one-off search terms. You want to find the commonality between those search terms and see if you can wipe out a bunch of them at once without screwing yourself up, without negating yourself from search terms that are profitable. That's not what you want. So inside of the tool, we have two lists. We make two lists. We combine them into one, and we show you only the individual words that have never, ever been linked to a sale, but have been also linked to these negative words, to these negative search terms that are draining your profitability. So I'll show you that later. Here's what it looks like. We'll do a demo later on. It's really easy. You could do it in bulk across all your campaigns at once and get rid of them. All right. So now, Shai, we're going to go like quickly on this one. We're going to go through these very quick. Outwit your competition. Now, these are just ideas. Some of them are a little bit more advanced. Some of them are worth testing. Next, let's do piggyback off high spending competitors with SP, SB, SD product targeting ads. So some of your keywords might have become too expensive to target. And one option is you could try and piggyback off of those people by setting up different ads and trying to get some sales from their traffic. Okay. Just one opportunity. Again, this is something you have to test. Check out the conversion rate. But you can see here we have sponsored product ads. Here we have sponsored display ads. You could also do sponsored brand ads. I don't think sponsored brand video ads are showing up on the product pages, but I think it's around the corner. Next thing, enable gift options. So how many people here send gifts to people? You know I do. I send gifts to my relatives who I can't see. I spend the $2 or whatever it is to create a giftable, put them in a bag. It's way better than if it came from me because I'm not a good rapper. So it's a cheap option. Point is you have to enable your gift options. And I can tell you that if I was shopping for a gift and there was a product that didn't have this, I wouldn't choose it because then I'm just sending someone an Amazon box. And that is just not a good look, hey, just open up this box. You want to have it a nice presentation. So enable your gift options. Of course,
Mike, where are the place that you can do it?
Type under the search bar, type in gift options. It'll take you to the place. There's a place where you can, you have to upload a spreadsheet and you have to enable it on the settings. There's 2 steps. But just go into Amazon and type in enable gift options. I don't know exactly where it is, but it'll take you to the right place to do it. That's how I found it over here.
Interesting.
All right. So next,
is anybody here in the group is using this feature? You, Manny?
Yes, I do.
Can you share some insight with us?
I'm not sure who is using it. I just have the options, but I need to go to the, I need to go to order by order to see if they are. No, you don't see it in the order. You have to get inside the order and see if they used it. I think I never tracked it actually.
When you edit it when you create the list, when you edit it, you can choose send it as a gift with a gift something and yeah, it's something that very common. A lot of sellers do that, but we don't know to track. We don't have the data for that. So
yeah, that's correct.
Inside of the margins tool, we pull that information. So we do see that some shoppers do that. You can see it inside of an option of, but anyways, yeah, it's definitely something. It's simple to do, easy to do, and I would recommend setting up. Shai, can we move on?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Defend your turf, maximize conversions. Okay, we talked about this, defending your turf with ads. That's one way to do it, but also creating bundles is another way to do it. Think of a bundle as basically a free sponsored display ad. It takes up a lot of room on the listing. It's very big. It's like above the fold. So it's a really good thing if you have enough products to set up a bundle to protect your turf. Videos and live, of course, that's important as well to protect your turf. more product details, fill it out. Premium A plus we discussed before, and also the brand story. Next, promote your holiday deals with sponsored brand ads plus save headline. So here's an example. Now they don't have a specific holiday headline here, but you can see that if you have a sponsored brand ad, top of search, you can see that it also includes the badge for your deal. So combining, if you do have a deal, a sponsored brand ad, targeting those major search terms, and then also combining that with potentially a holiday headline, which would go right over here. Here it says outdoor lighted zombie. You can make a holiday deadline, but you can also combine that with a save-based headline. You're allowed to use the word save if you have a deal. You can line up your headlines with your deal. There's specific rules, and you can look at the rules when you go to make your headlines. But the point is, this is a great way to combine a bunch of different strategies. The save, the holiday, and also promoting your lightning deal through top of search, maybe even top of search sponsored brand video, but that's speculative. Who knows if that's going to work. Okay, next important, create holiday themed posts. Here's a good one from Hershey. This is free traffic, available on mobile. Just keeping consistent with this, doing it a couple times per day. Very good. It takes up lots of real estate on your listing, and very easy to do. You could hire someone to do that as well. Last but not least, this is much more advanced. Store spotlight ads using most giftable categories plus holiday headline plus targeting more broad or gift related keywords. So here's an example of this, where we have a company brand called Treetopia that is targeting three different brands, three different subcategories on their storefront page that are all holiday related items or giftable items. And this could be like, let's say you have if Hershey's was doing this, maybe they have like three different categories. But the point is, these categories are the most giftable categories. And then you're targeting it with a giftable headline, and you're targeting the more giftable keywords or more broad-based keywords, because we're not targeting a specific product. We're targeting more broadly based. Storefront ads are good for that if you're targeting more broadly based keywords, but it's not great if you're targeting more specific keywords. So this combines a couple of different strategies. I'm not going to spend a long time on this because it's probably not going to be used by a lot of people. It's just more for just thinking about what's possible out there, and start to get more creative and start to think of your options and realize that you can combine a lot of these strategies. And this is like a final strategy that combines a bunch of different things. All right. So first off, before we get there, does anyone have any questions? This is me when I was waiting for a meeting the other day, but does anyone have any? Someone did, they didn't show up for a meeting, and I was like, what the hell is everybody? And I just took a photo. Anyone have any questions? Awesome.
Yeah, I have one. You were talking about sponsored brand videos, and I'm very enthusiastic about it. The question is, when I'm getting into it, I just tried it now, and when you get into it, you can target keywords and you can target also products. So I don't understand, because of the sponsored brand videos should be at the top of the search terms, why I should target products.
So you're saying the product, so the product targeting is enabled.
Yeah, it is.
Right, and the question is, because there's no ASIN targeting or there's no videos on the product page, why is that so?
Yeah.
My understanding is you're also targeting the search terms related to that product. So when I target a certain product, I had the same question at first too. I had no idea, like, that doesn't make any sense. But when you're targeting that product, you're also targeting the search terms related to that product. So you can show up in search for that product. Shai, okay. Is that how you understand it as well?
Or maybe the ad will be shown on the product page. And not
he's talking about sponsored brand video.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is, to my knowledge, there is no video sponsored brand. They're probably rolling it out too. Like they're probably testing it. You'll probably see it here and there throughout the next couple of months, and eventually everyone will have video. But to my knowledge, has anyone seen that?
What, videos on the product page? Sponsored videos on the product page?
Sponsored videos, yes.
Yeah. sponsored video for product page. Yeah. I
You've
saw
seen
it.
it?
Usually it's in the bottom of the on the page near the near the places that people upload your video, and there is a video related to your product. Near to it, Amazon showed the sponsored video brand with the video company.
There you
I'm
go.
not sure those are sponsored.
Sometimes you can see there the icon.
Yeah, there is videos for this product, and then there is videos for related products. So I guess the video for related products are sponsored. Okay.
Alrighty. At the end, it's a game of testing, Manny. You need to test it. At the end, it's a game of to test.
To test it, yeah.
Check it. From my experience, when we are targeting ASIN with video, it's working very well, because a lot of people are not using this feature. So there's a slot to get with low bid. This is the game.
I'm not sure about the it's working, so it is, but it's like the
Amazon doesn't do it a lot, so it's not getting a lot of impressions. Mm-hmm. But I can ensure that a lot of time I can see it in this specific page.
Shai, you bring up a really good point that not a lot of impressions because there's low inventory, but eventually there will be inventory. And if you're then first to get there, that's going to be the first mover advantage. So you could just basically copy all the ASINs that can be other product targeting campaigns and your auto campaigns and create a list, and then start to maybe do a lower bid and start to target that on the product page. This way you're the first to go.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, here it is. I see it now. There is similar brands on Amazon, and there are videos for the similar brands on Amazon on the product page. This is the product targeting on the sponsored brand videos.
What product are you looking at? What I'll take a quick look. Let me just look at it in random product and see what's going on.
I will show you 1 minute.
Yeah, so this is inspiration videos. Yeah,
go down to the bottom of the page, and I guess.
Oh, they're really starting down low, huh?
No. It's supposed to be above the questions, above the Q&A. Where I see it now. Okay, I will try to get a screen capture.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like.
Yeah, but sometimes it's showing here. Sometimes.
Okay.
Mike, I want to ask you something about out of stock, because a lot of people are going to run out of stock, and it's a general question. From your experience, what is better, to be out of stock and to wait until the next stock will come in, or to slow the sales in order not to be out of stock? So increase the price, lower the budget, etc. Or to sell as much as you can until you will be out of stock.
I see it as it's situational. If you're going to be out of stock for like a few days, then you can go out guns a-blazing and just come back in a couple of days, and you've gone out with high sales velocity. I would personally opt for that. If you're going to be out for, let's say, a month, then that's a different situation. It's not a good situation to be in. Regardless, like, it's really not a good thing to be out of stock. So in that situation, I would go out with maximizing my profits by lowering my ads. If I know it's going to be like 3 months before I'm back in stock, I would maximize my profits. If I know that I'm going to be back in stock in a couple of days, I want to maintain my sales velocity, and I just keep everything on. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Because you're going to need those profits to boost yourself back up when you get back in stock. You're going to need that stuff. All right. Any other questions? Cool. So why don't I do a really quick demo? Actually, what I want to show you real quick is we have this. Shai has been really, really great to have me on here. And he asked me like, what can I do for people watching this and who have made it to the very end? So if you go to our website now, we have a 14-day free trial. We decided to increase the free trial to 30 days. So there's really no commitment at all. You can sign up for Entourage. But we also are going to include a free coaching call with either myself or someone who's been with the tool for many, many years, to essentially go through and you know what? For the first 5 people, I will guarantee you it's me. Like, I just want to make sure I can take on all the calls, but it's going to be a 30-minute coaching call. We're going to go through Entourage. We're going to go through your account. I'm going to answer any questions that you have. We will go through the bulk engine. We will see where there's opportunities, where you're wasting money on ad spend. We'll look at your ad spend margin impact, your tacos. We'll see where there's room for improvement, all of these different things. So that'll be a free coaching call included in this, but you have to go through this link, which is get.ppcentourage.com/nonstop. And you have to use the code nonstop at checkout. And that will automatically get you the 30 days. I'll be able to see that you came through this link. And then I will send you a 30-minute coaching call within the next couple of weeks. And we'll work to do some of these strategies specifically on your account. So make sure you copy that down. And Shai, if it's cool by you, I'm going to go through like a 5-minute demo.
Yeah, let's show the 2 or 3 main features that I think it's super important. But I don't know if you mentioned it, but it's also 30 days free. So it's the first that we sign up that will get the 30 days free and the coaching with you.
Yeah, so just go to this link and you'll be all set up. Just a quick thing, I'll be away next week. I'm going to the Unboxed event in New York City to learn about Amazon ads. But after that, we can have our coaching call and go from there. So I'm going to show you the tool. This is Entourage. This is the second version of Entourage. I'm really, really happy about the way it's coming out. I think the UI is very clean, very smooth, very easy to understand. You have the main dashboard here. You can break it down by ad type and see how your ad types are performing. And then we have something called the Command Center. The Command Center is also available right over here. Essentially what this is everywhere that you would go to command your ads and do things with your ads. You can maximize this to get the most amount of space. You can customize your columns over here, and we have a lot of different metrics that are available. Now, what's cool about this is we have different tags, we have portfolios, and the reason I bring up the tags and portfolios is that because once we go to the bulk engine, you can utilize tags and the portfolios to make big changes to your accounts quickly and easily. That's going to save you a ton of time without having to use a spreadsheet. Now, I built this because I was really illiterate when it came to spreadsheets. I still am. That's a good thing because I feel the pain of having to use them, and I wanted to make a tool to eliminate the need to have to use them for sellers, and that's why Entourage was born. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. This tool is really built for all brands of all sizes. If you have a lot of campaigns, it's really helpful as well because you can do things in bulk. And here's an example of something called the bulk moves. Let's say, we get on a call and I noticed that your campaign naming structure is really bad, or for whatever reason, there's no identity behind your campaigns. We have to do that. Well, I just go over here to update campaign names. I select a bunch of campaigns that I want to select, and you can quickly and easily apply campaign name changes to all of your campaigns. Even if you have 100 of them, you can do it all at once. So that's just a little example. Of course, we have a ton of different features inside of the bulk move section. Let's say you have a new product that came on board and you want to add a product to advertise. Well, of course, you can select the campaigns you want to add it to, and you can add that product right from this screen here. And you could do the same thing with keywords and targets. You could also adjust the budgets. You can update the target ACOS, which our tool will look at the target ACOS to make bid recommendations. So let's say I have 100 campaigns. Well, I want to update the target ACOS all at once. I can change it all at once, and boom, now I'm done. And now the tool is going to be recommending different ways to optimize my campaign on a target ACOS level. I'm not going to focus on this, but we have a really good tool called the Smart Pilot, which essentially is a rule-based system where you can set a template very quickly and easily, and you can apply that template to many campaigns all at once. The key is doing it in bulk. We have target bid optimization, very simple and straightforward. we're going to be targeting an ACOS, let's say of a 30% ACOS, we can do that. And this is going to run every day, or we have advanced settings where we can set the frequency to daily, weekly, and monthly. Now, this is going to get a little bit more advanced, but I show you how to do it in the tool. Then, of course, you can apply that template to multiple campaigns at once. So this way you're not doing it like, one at a time, which would take forever. But there's a bunch of really good advanced settings for bid optimization. Of course, we have the day parting, seasonality. We have the negative target automation. If you want to do your negative exacts, you can run this also on multiple timeframes. So let's say you wanted to look back and do it over the last 7 days and look at that window of data. You can optimize based on the last 7 days, but then easily you can clone it and optimize over the last 90 days because data is going to be different over a different period of time. And sometimes it takes a longer period of time for it to get to a certain threshold for the tool to make action or to take action. So we give you the ability to optimize on different timeframes and different levels. Very simple and straightforward. And there's videos for pretty much everything. And then expansion as well. If I wanted to pull search terms into this campaign from, let's say, an auto campaign, every single ad type is here: sponsored brand video, sponsored display, all of that. We can pull the sponsored display. You can't do search terms, but we can pull search terms from, let's say, an auto campaign into this campaign. If we wanted to do research, we could do all of that through the search term expansion. So it's really cool the way that is set up. Before I go to the bulk engine, just want to show you the way things are organized on a campaign level. And the key here is that everything I show you is based on our blueprint from years ago. And everything here can be done in bulk across all your ad types. You could search by tag, you could search by portfolio. And we have the different ways to optimize across the page. So there's SKU optimization, which is finding the individual SKUs. If you have multiple SKUs in a campaign that are underperforming, so you can drive traffic to the SKUs that are performing. And this is really great in bulk because you can look at every campaign, every ad group all at once across every SKU and see where you are bleeding money, which is impossible to do inside of Seller Central. So that's one tool. It's done in a second. Bid optimization is very straightforward. Obviously, we recommend a target bid based on the time period and also based on the target ACOS that you put inside of the campaign. We call it the genius bid. Now you'll see a little asterisk here. The asterisk is here because this campaign has a placement modifier turned on. So if you do have a placement modifier turned on, we recommend using placement optimization, which balances the base bid. Doesn't use the genius bid. It balances the base bid with the recommended modifier with the goal of getting a target ACOS across all three of the different placements. Rather than just getting a blanket target ACOS, we want to see if we can get it the same across all three so we can maximize sales, but also just maximize efficiency. Of course, then we have a tool called Keyword Cleaner. This is then finding all of the different keywords inside of a campaign and then figuring out which search terms are underperforming for those keywords. You could see here that this keyword, cat mats for litter, has a good ACOS, 11 orders, 32 ACOS. However, there are going to be some search terms without sales. So within a good keyword, there's also a bunch of junk. And you see a long tail search term here, preview, whatever this is, you can add a negative. Now that keyword's going to perform even better. All right. So just like the whole tool is very simple to use. Then we have search term optimization, where we find the above ACOS search terms. We could set a filter for that. We have this is my favorite. This is what I showed you all before, the negative word finder. The negative word finder is going to find the individual words that have not led to a profitable sale. So example here, gorilla has 26 unprofitable clicks. We can then take this and we get a negative phrase match. I recommend people do this very carefully, but it's very powerful. It can save a lot of money. It has to be done. It's not something you would, unless you have a really trusted VA or someone doing this on your behalf, I would do this yourself. And keep in mind that it's very, very powerful to do this, but you have to be very careful. Now, let me show you what this looks like in bulk, and then I'm going to end the session for the day. I'm going to click over here. It's going to show the bulk engine. This is our flagship tool, because you can do this across multiple campaigns at once. I'm going to do the negative word finder in bulk. I'm going to go over here, going to click on negative word finder. Now, if you look over here, you can see that we can filter by portfolios, tags, or even ad types. Let's say I just wanted to optimize sponsored product ads. I can do that. We have by default just the active campaigns, because why would you want to optimize something that's not active? Also makes this tool a lot faster. I'm going to select all these campaigns, which is hundreds of campaigns, which is going to link to hundreds of ad groups. You could see all 16 results are selected. And then as I'm going through this, it's churning through the data to find all of those individual words that I just showed you on the previous example. Now we're looking at it in bulk. So what's cool about this is I can see that these words have not led to a profitable sale in these campaigns. I could also organize it by campaigns, and I can say, okay, there's 141 words in this campaign that's underperforming. I could find out what it is, and then I could do my negatives all at once, quickly and easily. So this is how the bulk engine is laid out. We've spent countless hours designing it to reduce the amount of clicks, but also maximize the efficiency to then reduce the need for spreadsheets. I think we've gotten it about 80% of the way there. I'm not happy until it's 100. I have a couple more things that I want to add to it. That's going to be very much a game changer, including some things that are only available in the API for the expansion section, and also some advanced targeting things that we'll be adding. So you can find out all of the targets and see where you're missing gaps in your advertising strategy. Let's say you have a certain keyword you want to target, but you're missing it in certain types of ads. Our tool is going to quickly be able to show you all of this information. It could do a lot of that already, but I'm sharing some ideas that I want to add for improvement. Shai, anything you want me to add to that?
I think one of the best features in this tool is the bulk optimization that you cannot do from Seller Central. For example, if you can show them how, for example, show me all the search term in my account in all campaigns that, for example, generate more than 40% ACOS, the search terms, and then or more than 8 clicks or 10 clicks without any order. This is something that saves tons of time. We cannot do it in Seller Central. We cannot do it in bulk operation. And I think it can show us all the time. It can kill all the bleeder. After 1 minute, we can take off all the bleeders in our account. I think it's super important right now before Christmas, because we don't want to focus, especially we have a tight budget. We don't want to spend our money on keywords and search them that don't generate any sales, or the ACOS is high, because we need to focus only on specific keyword that or search term that the conversion rate is high or the ACOS is low. It depends in our goals. So if you can show them, for example, how easy it is to take all accounts, the search in all account, in all campaign, and to take it out from our campaign.
Yeah, it's super easy. So you just go to this screen here, bulk optimization, search term optimization, select the campaigns you want to select. I have everyone selected here. You could change the time frame if you want, whatever you want to do. You could filter by tags or whatever. Click on continue. Now you want to select the ad groups. I have by default all of them, because it typically do optimize by all ad groups. These are all the ad groups inside of these campaigns. Click on continue. This is the most important part, above target ACOS. So we're going to find all the keywords, all the search terms rather, above that target ACOS. We could also set the filters right over here. Let's say we want to find the one that have two like 500 orders. So we're just getting rid of the one-offs. We can do that, and we can save this filter and then come back to it. You know, I have one named Shai. I have no idea why. But we have one, the new filter, 10 clicks and no sales. Like, you can save whatever filter you want. Most people just use this. They just come in here and they look for, they check this box above target ACOS. You're finding all the search terms above target ACOS. Now, our entire tool, when you click on results, is always, you can be rest assured, we're always organizing by the highest spend first. So you're not going to have to spend and waste your time like going through to find the worst offenders. All of the worst offenders are going to be listed at the top for that given period of time. This is really critical also, new keywords only. If it's already added as a negative, we're not going to show it, because what's the point of doing that? You've already added it as a negative. So like, just keep in mind, all of this stuff has been thought out over the last 6 years to make it as streamlined as possible, to make the as efficient as possible. to reduce spreadsheets and all of that. And then all you'd have to do is just go through these and you could add negatives to campaigns, automatically set to negative exact. Or what you could also do is organize by campaigns, which I love this view because it shows you how many search terms show up. You can maximize this and just work on one campaign at a time. Yeah, this would be great for a VA. If you have a VA, they can come in here and you could just look at this at one campaign at a time and you can do your negatives like this. And then the one thing I want to show you with this, if you mess up, we have you covered as well, because sometimes we all mess up. We have the advanced section, which has really cool sections over here. Here's one for review all negatives. I can review all my negatives across every campaign all at once. And I can see, you can see like which campaigns have negatives. And maybe you negated a word that was not, I'm going to organize by campaign. Look at this. This campaign has 1,482 different negatives. Maybe I want to start over, you know, or remove some of those negatives. Well, I can do that. I can remove a couple of them, all of this stuff. Last thing before I shut up, everything you do is logged in the activity log. So if you make any updates, Smart Pilot makes any updates, you can list them here and you can check it out. And you can just quickly and easily see what was done and go from there. Thank you, everybody. We went for 2 hours. That's friggin' awesome. You guys are probably ready to go to bed.
And you kept most of them in the meeting, still in the meeting with us. Most of the people. Questions, guys, ladies, gentlemen. Question about the PPC, question about the tool, something. Do you want to ask Mike?
Yeah, and just to let you know, like I wouldn't have said this a year ago. Like I was not happy with the way the tool was a year ago. I'm really happy with the way the tool is now. I'm very proud of it. I think it's really good. I think it's something that's going to help a lot of sellers. And the alliance that we have with Carbon 6 and the resources now that we have to make it even better, it's game over. We're coming out of the woodworks here, coming out swinging. So it's going to be the best. It already is the best tool. It's going to be even better. But I'm glad you guys are speechless. You're probably just tired. You're welcome, everyone. I appreciate your time, and I hope this was helpful.
Thank you, Mike. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Thank you. Good night.
Mike, thank you so much for your time. I think Mike will join me every few weeks for the PPC class. I think I have some ideas what to talk about. For example, you talk about the reports from the search term from Amazon. You focus on it. I think most of the people are not using it, and it will be great, and we can start give more information about it. And now that we know some more information about this tool and what is the reason that the data is not accurate, and if you have any idea that you want, any issue or topics that you want that Mike will talk on them in the PPC class, I think you can send it to me in the WhatsApp group or directly to me, and I can ask Mike to arrange something.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, everyone. Pleasure.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.